From my very childhood, I had this inspiration to study the scriptures of India and put them in my own life and also educate people about the teachings of the scriptures. So, although I studied engineering, I went to America, but when I was in America, then this inspiration, this desire became very intense. Originally, I was thinking that I will work for a few years and then I will retire, then I will study and take to this kind of life. But while in America, I realized that even people who are rich or who are supposed to be advanced materially, they were not happy. And then I became more and more inspired to take up this study. So I gave up my job and I came back to India and I studied the scriptures, which of course took some time for me to do that because I have to find a proper teacher to study that. So I was in South India for a few years. I started learning Sanskrit there, but there was a problem of language because I did not know the local language and they did not know Hindi or English. So there was difficulty in communicating. So then I shifted to Vrindavan, and with the help of my brother Rishi, then I started studying here because of course studying means it also costs some money. You need books, you need place, you need to also do some service to the teacher. So I found my teacher whose photo is here, my Guru, Honorable Sri Sri Haridas Shastri Maharaj. He is a great learned scholar in the Shastra. He is no more now. He left his body in 2013, October. He has studied in Banaras, which is a center of education in India, and he was living in his ashram in Vrindavan here. So I approached him to study, and he was very happy to teach me. So I studied with him for almost 20 years, and he was a very good teacher, very learned and also realized in it. It was not just a question of knowing the theory, but knowing actually the practice of it and the experience of it. So I used to go and do service in his ashram. He has Goshala. There are about 250 cows there. So I used to do service in the Goshala there, and then we used to have class every day. My class used to start at 5 o'clock and then it used to go till 9. Later on it will go up to sometimes 10, 11 o'clock. So every day I had classes 4-5 hours, and this class was without a break. We both will sit down, he will start teaching and we'll be sitting there without any break for going to bathroom, drinking water, nothing. The official goal of the institute was to give knowledge, traditional knowledge, in the modern society, in modern context. Obviously the scriptures, they were revealed thousands of years ago, and the society at that time was much different. So although the principles of the scriptures don't change, but how to apply them in the present society, that is obviously is going to be different than how it was few thousands years ago. And it is also a challenge because the modern society is not geared for scriptures. The original traditional Indian society was based on scriptures, and it was meant for people to apply the scriptural knowledge in their life. But now, after India became independent, it became a secular state and followed the Western pattern of governing, and also the education system became a democratic country. So that is obviously not geared towards Indian scriptures or on the teachings of those Indian scriptures. So how to apply that education now in the modern society, and especially now the lifestyle is much different than before, and there is a lot of technological advancement which has happened. So our aim was that we wanted to use the technology, which is usually destroying the culture. Usually if you see, technology destroys culture, whether it is television, mobile, or even the modern lifestyle, the cars and the planes, a lot of different means of traveling and various gadgets, they are against the traditions of any place. So lifestyle have changed everywhere. So we wanted to use this technology actually to bring the teachings of the scriptures and protect those teachings by using it. Scriptures have two parts in it. One is the part of principle, like say law of karma. So this law of karma is universal. It will not change with the time. It's not that when scriptures were revealed then law of karma was applicable, and now because things have changed and we are more using technology, therefore the law of karma will change. Just like we have law of gravitation. So law of gravity is a universal principle, whether it is India or America or France, everywhere it is applicable. There are laws of motion, laws of thermodynamics. So they are applicable everywhere. So the Shastra also gives certain principles which are beyond the scope of modern science and technology, and they are universal principles. And one example of that is law of principle, or say truthfulness or non-violence. So these are certain principles which are applicable in every society. It has nothing to do with India or Hinduism. These are principles for human life. They are actually related with our nature, our human nature, and also with the nature outside. How we function in this society, how we live, how we are related with the universe. So these principles tell us that, and if we can understand those principles, then we can live in harmony with nature. We can live in harmony with other human beings. We can live in harmony with the animals, with birds and beasts. So the purpose of Jiva Institute is to bring this knowledge to the society which is missing. First of all, the knowledge of scriptures, it has two parts in it. There is a spiritual knowledge which deals with the Atma, the soul, the spirit. And the other knowledge is that which deals with the body and mind. So because a human being is a combination of mind-body complex along with the soul. So knowledge of both of these things is given. Modern science teaches us primarily about the body, about the visible nature, and some knowledge about the mind. But it does not give us much knowledge about the self, the Atma, and beyond that God, the Paramatma. So we conceived that we will have one department where we will study the scriptures and study the spiritual part of knowledge, and then how to bring it to the society. For that we have to have education in the modern society. So for that we have the education branch, so that we teach to the children in the school. And then the third is to do, whether you do spiritual practice or you do material practice, you must have good health. So in the scriptures there is also Ayurveda, which is the traditional Vedic medical system, and it is very profound, very deep, and very practical. We have a Sanskrit school, and this school is affiliated with a university in Banaras, which is, the name is Sampurnananda Sanskrit University.
I know.
And we teach students Sanskrit grammar. The language, of course, is very important. And then we have Vedanta, we have philosophy, we have music, the traditional Indian music, we have astrology, yoga. So these traditional subjects are taught. So we have sadhus, people who have dedicated their life for practicing this and studying it, who are living here and who are studying. And then we have students coming from outside who come and study here. We have both the Western students and Indian students. Ultimately, we are all human beings. We may be speaking different languages, we may be wearing different dresses, different type of food, but underneath, we are all human beings. We all have a human mind, body, and the self. And the characteristic of this body, mind, and self are same everywhere. That's why we are human beings. So we belong to the same class. Just as there are cows, so whether they are cows here in India or cows here else, they belong to a specific class. So as human beings, we belong to this class. And as I said, that the knowledge given in the scriptures, it is applicable to the humanity, to all human beings.